An entire community has finally awakened to the deception that was orchestrated right before their eyes. The elaborate illusion maintained by their revered spiritual leader has shattered, revealing the manipulative tactics and abuse that were disguised as divine guidance and enlightenment. Now your truth stands validated as the community witnesses the undeniable evidence of what was done to you and fellow victims under the guise of spiritual awakening. While they grapple with their shattered faith, you stand vindicated. Your experiences no longer dismissed as misunderstandings, but recognized as the warning signs everyone should have heeded long ago. Your heart chakra burns with recognition. Your throat center pulses with suppressed truth. These sensations are no mere coincidence. They are divine alarms activated within your sacred vessel. The universe itself conspires to awaken you through unmistakable signs embedded in your daily existence. Sacred geometric patterns emerge from ordinary objects. Meaningful coincidences arrive with such precision that probability cannot explain them. Celestial bodies align in perfect harmony with your personal journey. These cosmic breadcrumbs form a trail of revelation that your intuition has always recognized while your logical mind struggled to comprehend. Now, the veil lifts. Your body knew before your mind could accept it. Your spirit recognized the deception while your conscious thoughts remained clouded by manipulation. The sensations intensifying within your energy centers serve as cosmic alarm systems, specifically calibrated to your unique frequency. When your heart chakra throbs with unexplainable pressure, universal forces demand your attention. When your throat center constricts despite no physical cause, divine wisdom pushes toward expression through your voice. These physical manifestations represent spiritual communication at its most direct and undeniable. Your natural ability to transform suffering into healing terrifies those who prosper from pain. This gift awakened within you after your own profound descent into darkness. Your capacity to transmute agony into wisdom threatens every false prophet who feeds on the wounds of others. People gravitate toward your energy with an almost magnetic pull. They share their deepest wounds without understanding why your presence creates such immediate safety. Strangers reveal secrets they've guarded for decades. Friends expose vulnerabilities they've hidden from everyone else. This happens because your soul radiates at a frequency that unlocks authentic expression in others. This divine healing ability, this sacred gift, explains precisely why certain forces targeted you with such calculated precision. Your light exposes their darkness simply by existing. Your authenticity reveals their falsehood without you speaking a single word. The mere possibility of your full empowerment threatened their entire operation. Your healing abilities operate beyond conscious control or methodical technique. Transformation occurs in your presence without deliberate effort. Pain diminishes around you through no conscious action on your part. Trauma begins resolving through mere proximity to your energetic field. This effortless healing happens because your soul resonates at a frequency that naturally harmonizes discordant energies. The magnetism that draws wounded souls toward you operates beyond physical attraction or intellectual connection. People experiencing this pull often struggle to explain their immediate trust in you. They cannot articulate why they share private suffering they've concealed from intimates for years. This gravitational force originates from soul recognition, wounded aspects of others recognizing their potential healing through proximity to your integrated wholeness. This healing presence explains why systematic efforts targeted your confidence, your clarity, and your connection to Source. Those who profit from perpetuating wounds recognize the existential threat you represented to their operation. Your unmanufactured ability to facilitate healing undermined their carefully constructed position as exclusive healing channels. Your natural gift exposed their elaborate techniques as unnecessary complications of simple energetic truths. The community once revered this individual as a messenger of spiritual truth. With carefully calculated movements, they violated the sacred trust placed in their hands. They weaponized ancient wisdom, twisting holy teachings into instruments of control rather than liberation. Their intoxication with power corrupted what might once have been genuine spiritual connection. Their charisma served as the perfect disguise. Flowing words delivered with conviction masked a dangerous agenda. They offered enough truth to make the poison palatable, spiritual insights wrapped around devastating manipulation. While publicly championing connection to the divine, they privately worked to sever genuine spiritual bonds that threatened their authority. They feared you specifically. Your intuitive gifts represented a direct threat to their carefully constructed illusion. They recognized in you what they lacked in themselves: authentic spiritual connection that requires no intermediary, no interpreter, no gatekeeper collecting payment for access to divine wisdom. The Obsidian Inner Order is not a program, it's not a course, it's not some feel-good spiritual retreat. We don't sell answers, we remember together. We teach psychic self-defense, real energetic shielding against entities, implants, and interference. We restore manifestation as it was meant to be, raw, immediate, and exact. Every week we gather in secret, not to worship, but to awaken. To speak what can't be said anywhere else. To deprogram the matrix, layer by layer. You'll know if you're meant to be there. You'll feel it in your bones. The Chosen meet every Wednesday on Zoom. Why aren't you with us yet? Got gnosis? Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. The violation of community trust occurred through gradual, almost imperceptible steps. Small boundary violations tested collective resistance. Minor deceptions gauged detection thresholds. Incremental power consolidation proceeded slowly enough to normalize each progression. This methodical approach ensured that by the time major transgressions occurred, the community had already been conditioned to accept increasingly concerning behavior. The charismatic disguise functioned with devastating effectiveness because it combined genuine spiritual insights with manufactured authority. Their teachings contained enough truth to resonate authentically with seekers. Their presence carried enough power to create real experiences. Their methods produced enough results to generate testimonials. This mixture of authentic elements with strategic deception created the perfect Trojan horse for manipulation. Their fear of your gifts manifested through specific patterns of undermining, public praise disguised private sabotage, generous recognition, masked systematic disempowerment. Apparent opportunities concealed carefully constructed limitations. They feared your unfiltered connection to Source because it demonstrated what they secretly knew themselves, that their elaborate spiritual infrastructure served primarily to establish their position rather than facilitate genuine connection to the divine. Those night battles you endured were not random disturbances. The unexplainable nightmares, the profound sleep disruptions, the intrusive thoughts that shattered your meditation, these represented calculated spiritual attacks designed with surgical precision to diminish your power and cloud your clarity. During your most vulnerable dream states, attempts were made to block your energy centers. The attacks intensified whenever you approached the threshold of discovering your full truth. They knew that if you spoke your authentic experience, others would recognize their own suppressed knowing. Your voice represented a domino that could topple their entire structure of control. Yet even in these darkest moments, notice what happened. The attacks failed. They may have temporarily disrupted your peace, but they never extinguished your light. They may have delayed your awakening, but they could not prevent it. The attacks on your meditation practice sought to discourage your direct connection to source wisdom. Intrusive thoughts precisely aligned with your deepest insecurities. Emotional turbulence erupted during your moments of deepest stillness. Physical discomfort manifested when your spiritual practice deepened. These disruptions represent sophisticated interference techniques designed to sever your connection to internal guidance. The escalation pattern reveals strategic intent behind these disturbances. Whenever your consciousness expanded toward fuller awareness, the interference intensified proportionally. When insights approached critical thresholds, obstacles multiplied accordingly. When your voice prepared to articulate truth, physical symptoms mysteriously affected your throat, or communication became inexplicably difficult. This precise correlation between your advancement and their opposition confirms the deliberate nature of the interference. The failure of these attacks, despite their sophistication and persistence, demonstrates the indestructible nature of authentic spiritual connection. Your light dimmed but never extinguished. Your clarity clouded but never disappeared. Your progress slowed but never halted. This resilience reveals the fundamental truth that genuine spiritual power cannot be permanently suppressed by external forces. They can only delay the inevitable awakening. Despite every attempt to bind your energy, a powerful divine presence maintained constant protection over you. This sacred shield manifested as unexpected allies appearing at crucial moments. Timely revelations arrived precisely when you needed them most. Resources emerged from seemingly impossible sources. What was designed to destroy you instead forged your spirit into something unbreakable. The very opposition meant to extinguish your flame instead tempered you into an unquenchable fire. Your unique gifts, divinely ordained from birth, cannot be permanently suppressed by human interference, no matter how organized, no matter how determined. The invisible protection operates through dreams, delivering coded wisdom that bypasses conscious resistance. Messages arrive during liminal states between waking and sleeping. Symbols appear carrying multidimensional meaning that intellectual analysis cannot fully decode. Names, numbers, and images emerge with personal significance that guides your journey with supernatural precision. Your adversary's inability to permanently affect your spiritual connection demonstrates the limited scope of their power. Their influence extends only to physical and psychological dimensions, while your connection to Source remains anchored in realms beyond their reach. This limitation explains their reliance on fear, doubt, and material control, the only tools available when true spiritual authority remains absent. Listen carefully to the changing sounds within the community. Hushed conversations have begun. Nervous glances exchange volumes of unspoken recognition. One brave soul's expressed doubt creates permission for others to voice what they've known but feared to acknowledge. People compare notes about inconsistencies they've observed but dismissed. The collective intuition of the community finally overrides their programming. What begins as whispers grows steadily into clear voices of discernment. The chorus of awakening cannot be silenced once it begins. It only amplifies with each new voice that joins. The community you thought lost to manipulation now stands at the threshold of its own liberation. Those you assumed completely deceived carried seeds of doubt all along, waiting for the right conditions to germinate into full-bloomed recognition of truth. The permission dynamics shift dramatically once courageous voices break the silence. Those who speak first create safety for those who follow. Early truth-tellers establish precedent for later revelations, pioneer questioners expand parameters of acceptable inquiry for subsequent explorers. This permission cascade gains unstoppable momentum once initiated, regardless of attempts to silence or discredit early voices. The collective intuition represents an unstoppable force once activated. Individual discernment connects with others to form networked knowing that transcends personal limitations. Separate experiences combine to reveal patterns invisible from single perspectives. Isolated data points merge to expose previously hidden connections. This collective consciousness contains wisdom beyond what any individual, including the manipulator, can access or control. Those you believed fully deceived maintained inner knowing despite external compliance. Behind expressions of devotion lived questions never articulated. Beneath professions of loyalty existed doubts never expressed. Within apparent surrender persisted resistance never revealed. This underground river of skepticism now surfaces with surprising force, revealing that complete deception was always an illusion maintained through social pressure rather than genuine conviction. While you faced direct spiritual opposition, others worked silently behind the scenes, methodically building a case against the deception. Evidence has been gathered meticulously, recordings preserved, testimonies documented, financial records secured. These truth-seekers risked their standing within the community to preserve what matters most: integrity. Every piece of evidence strengthens the collective understanding of what truly occurred. The picture becomes undeniable when viewed in its entirety. What seemed isolated or coincidental now reveals itself as part of a deliberate pattern. The guardians of evidence have created an unassailable foundation for the community's awakening. These brave souls operated under constant risk of exposure, motivated by devotion to truth rather than personal gain. Their careful documentation now serves as the backbone of collective understanding, making denial impossible for even the most dedicated followers. Their motivation transcended personal grievance or retribution. Their disciplined documentation focused on establishing objective patterns rather than promoting subjective interpretations. Their methodical approach sought understanding rather than punishment. Their ultimate goal targeted community healing rather than leadership destruction. This principled orientation distinguishes their work from mere opposition and establishes its contribution to genuine spiritual evolution. The misappropriation of community resources followed systematic patterns designed to avoid detection. Legitimate, organizational expenses disguised personal indulgences. Necessary operational costs concealed luxury acquisitions. Essential program expenses masked lifestyle enhancements. This deliberate obfuscation created plausible deniability while facilitating ongoing exploitation of community generosity. The financial investigation reveals stark contrasts between communicated priorities and actual expenditures. Resources allegedly designated for community development diverted to leadership comfort. Funds supposedly allocated for spiritual infrastructure redirected to personal asset acquisition. Donations explicitly given for community service channeled toward private advantage. These documented discrepancies establish patterns too consistent for coincidental explanation. The unfulfilled financial promises expose perhaps the most egregious aspect of the deception. Community members made life-altering financial decisions based on explicit commitments that remained consistently unfulfilled. Followers sacrificed security based on guaranteed outcomes that never materialized. Devotees relinquished resources based on promised returns that never appeared. These broken commitments represent not merely spiritual manipulation, but material exploitation, with concrete consequences in followers' lives. The most disturbing aspects of this deception involve harm to those who could least protect themselves. The vulnerable souls who trusted completely now require special attention and healing. Those who built success upon the exploitation of innocence now face both karmic and earthly justice. Your voice creates a protective barrier for those who cannot yet speak for themselves. Your courage shields those still finding their strength. Your testimony validates experiences that victims feared might never be believed. You stand now as both witness and protector, roles the universe specifically prepared you to fulfill during this critical time. The exploitation of vulnerability followed predatory patterns seen throughout history whenever power corrupts. Those with greatest needs received special attention designed to create dependency rather than development. Individuals with significant wounds experienced intense focus calculated to establish loyalty rather than healing. People with profound trust were given extraordinary promises engineered to ensure compliance rather than empowerment. These systematic approaches targeted precisely those least equipped to recognize or resist manipulation. The complete trust these victims placed in leadership emerged from genuine spiritual hunger rather than naivete. Their openness represented authentic seeking rather than foolish gullibility. Their compliance demonstrated sincere devotion rather than weak character. This accurate understanding proves essential for their healing process, as it relocates responsibility with perpetrators rather than victims, where it legitimately belongs. The dual justice now unfolding operates through both visible and invisible mechanisms. Earthly accountability proceeds through community recognition, social consequences, and potentially formal proceedings. Karmic balancing unfolds through universal principles that require no human enforcement. This complementary process ensures that no aspect of exploitation escapes appropriate response, regardless of its visibility within physical dimensions. Your protective role for those unable to speak creates essential conditions for their eventual voice. Your public testimony establishes precedent for their private processing. Your visible strength creates possibility for their developing courage. Your demonstrated resilience offers template for their emerging recovery. This scaffolding function serves precisely those who most need support during this critical transition from deception to truth. This unveiling occurs during a significant celestial window that amplifies truth-telling. Ancient wisdom teachings confirm that deception cannot maintain its form during certain cosmic alignments. What remained successfully hidden for years suddenly cannot sustain its disguise. The stars themselves seem to conspire in favor of revelation and justice. This timing is no accident. The cosmic forces supporting truth have aligned perfectly for this moment of collective awakening. The universal energies flow powerfully toward revelation, making this the most auspicious time for speaking your truth. What seemed impossible just months ago now unfolds with surprising ease. Barriers that appeared impenetrable suddenly dissolve. Opposition that seemed overwhelming now crumbles with minimal resistance. The cosmos itself creates optimal conditions for the great unveiling that now begins. The ease with which previously impossible progress now occurs provides empirical evidence of cosmic support. Conversations dismissed for years suddenly receive serious consideration. Documents ignored for months suddenly command attention. Testimonies rejected repeatedly suddenly find receptive audiences. Your words carry extraordinary power because they resonate with what others secretly know to be true. When you speak, you activate courage in those who feared acknowledging their own experiences. The very people who once dismissed your concerns now listen with rapt attention, recognizing the authenticity they've unconsciously craved. Your perspective becomes increasingly sought by those processing their awakening from deception. You stand as a way shower, illuminating the path from confusion to clarity. Your journey through darkness into light provides a template others can follow. Your transformation from victim to truth-bearer inspires similar metamorphosis in countless others. The resonance your words create operates through vibrational alignment rather than intellectual persuasion. Your authentic expression carries frequencies that activate dormant knowing in others. Your truth-telling generates harmonics that awaken suppressed awareness in listeners. Your genuine communication produces resonance patterns that stimulate latent recognition in your audience. This energetic process explains why your words affect people at levels deeper than conscious thought can reach. The courage activation you facilitate follows viral patterns of transmission through the community. Your demonstrated bravery creates permission for others to access their own courage. Your visible strength catalyzes others to connect with their internal power. Your public voice stimulates others to remember their own sound. This activation cascade gains momentum exponentially, as each newly empowered voice creates similar effects in widening circles of influence. The attentive listening you now receive from previous skeptics represents dramatic evidence of shifting consciousness. Those who actively opposed your perspective now seek your insights. People who explicitly dismissed your concerns now request your guidance. Individuals who specifically rejected your warnings now acknowledge your foresight. This reversal demonstrates the community's dramatic evolution from programmed resistance to awakened receptivity. Your way shower function provides essential orientation for those navigating unfamiliar territory of disillusionment. Your traversed path creates visible markers for those following behind. Your overcome obstacles establish precedent for successful navigation. Your arrived destination confirms possibility for those still journeying. This pioneering role serves the community by transforming unmarked wilderness into mapped territory accessible to subsequent travelers. From collective disillusionment emerges unprecedented opportunity for authentic connection. The very structures designed to control now become the foundation for genuine spiritual community. Those united through shared awakening develop unbreakable bonds of trust and mutual respect. Your healing journey transforms into a template for collective transformation, extending far beyond current imagination. What began as personal vindication evolves into community-wide liberation. What started as individual healing expands into collective restoration of power and purpose. The community will rebuild on principles of transparency, shared wisdom, and genuine spiritual autonomy. The painful lessons learned through deception become the cornerstone of a new foundation built on discernment and authentic connection to Source. Nothing that transpired was wasted. Every experience serves the greater awakening now unfolding. The bonds formed through shared awakening create connection depth impossible through ordinary circumstances. People who witness each other's vulnerability develop trust beyond conventional relationships. Individuals who support each other's disillusionment establish solidarity beyond typical friendships. Souls who accompany each other through darkness into light forge connections beyond normal social bonds. These extraordinary relationships form the resilient social fabric of the reborn community. The template your journey provides offers both inspiration and practical guidance for collective transformation. Your navigation of disillusionment without descending into bitterness demonstrates emotional possibility. Your maintenance of compassion without surrendering discernment illustrates balanced response. Your reclamation of spiritual connection without abandoning critical thinking exemplifies integrated approach. These modeled possibilities establish viable pathways for others, undertaking similar journeys. The principles upon which rebuilding proceeds establish foundations for sustainable spiritual community beyond cycles of deception. Transparency replaces secrecy as operational standard. Shared wisdom supplants hierarchical authority as knowledge structure. Genuine autonomy supersedes dependent devotion as developmental model. These fundamental shifts create conditions resistant to future manipulation, while supporting authentic spiritual evolution for all community members.